Welcome to the video, and in this video I'm going to break down how to improve on our client relations and the benefit we gain from it. And using this, the way we can achieve this is by looking at the 4 stages of development. And before we get into this and before you click off, I'll quickly explain to you and elaborate a tiny bit why understanding the 4 stages of development for our clients is such a big thing. Because ultimately, we want to be generating the best client results. And when we generate the best client results, it reflects on our branding. And one of the ways to achieve that is by obviously increasing the lifetime value within them and understanding their needs and wants and giving them the right solution and supporting them when they need. So ultimately, if you're a coach, if you're an agency owner, or if you're an entrepreneur in the business space, understanding our clients' relations and understanding how we can speak to them properly and support them when they need help to generate us the best results, better lifetime value, and better results most importantly, we need to be looking at the 4 stages of development. And I'll keep it short and simple, but this has been around for a long time. And if you look at some of the biggest companies like P&G, this is what they used to use to get them ahead of the curve. So this is exactly what I'm going to explain to you to get you ahead in your business too. And it comes down to looking at 4 things: D1, D2, D3, and D4. And I'll break it down step by step. D1 is high direction and low support. D2, high direction, high support. D3, low direction and high support. And finally, D4, which is low direction and low support. And I'll break it down for you to make it a tiny bit easier so you can understand this very simply and very easily. Let's break it down, and just as an example, say you have a 4-month program where D1 being the first month, second month, third month, 4th month. And ultimately, we want our clients to follow through this process with ease. We don't want any of our clients to say, oh, your solution isn't working for me, not generate the results, fall off track, and even chargebacks. Because as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we hate that the most. So what do I mean by D1, D2, D3, and D4? These are each of the stages, and let's, if you're struggling a bit, make it month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4. So this is what a client will go through when they're working with you. And, no matter how good your offer is, this is the same mindset, which has proven studies which everyone will go through. And D1 is when they start, they're excited, they have the high drive, they know what to do, and, they don't know what to do, but they're there, they're eager. D2, it is now where, they know what they do, they're realizing this isn't as quick as I thought I could, and, I want to start getting my momentum going, but I feel a bit lost. I feel like I'm kind of losing that direction. Now, D3, this is where your clients understand the information, they start implementing it, they don't really rely on you too much, but all of a sudden, they kind of need that limiting factor, that mental factor to help them really push through. And now D4, where they understand everything, everything's running smooth, they're going ahead, they don't need your support anymore. And when we understand this cycle, this is exactly what will set us apart from our competition, because we're speaking directly to them at their points of need. So breaking down into D1, high direction and low support. When someone first comes into your business and your client first comes in, they're eager. They've just paid you, so they're invested. Psychologically, they're invested, they're ready to start working with you. However, they don't know what to do. So they've given you this, but now in their mind, they're like, what do I do? You give them your resources, you give them your guide. And ultimately, as we said, their direction is what we need to guide them. We need to guide them and say, you need to do this, you need to do that. Now moving on to this, we look at the low support. And, low support, they don't need that charisma, they don't need that energy boost. But when we look at this, as we've discovered, this is exactly what will set us apart from our competition, because we're speaking to their needs. And it's a very simple process, which I'm reminding you of right now, and it takes no long. But coming through this, obviously looking at, retaining them, keeping up their attention, this is where it comes down to the breaking point. This is the factor where you've probably lost clients in the past, or if you're starting out, this is where, it gets a bit edgy. This is where you're probably thinking, oh, why are they not responding? They've slowed down a bit. This is where it comes down to the high support. And when people come to this, they have that limiting factor. And as we both know, the limiting factor and limiting beliefs is what separated you from everyone else. The reason why you're successful in your business now, and the reason why you're able to do what you do and take on new people, is because you've understand how to break that limiting belief and understand, how can I set myself apart from everyone else to be successful within my space? And this is exactly where your client will struggle. So you need to start giving them high direction once again, because they are still fairly new. And month to, just in this scenario, let's say they're going through month by month, we know that they have the information, they've started to approach the information, but most people, and just as a reminder, the guys that you're working with, are they successful? Most likely, if you already have a couple clients, and if not, this is what the process will be. But once again, people always think, oh, I'm going to start putting this in straight away, I'm going to be super successful, this new method I'm going to start seeing results. That only comes down to motivation. If you give them that support and you give them that, get rid of their limiting beliefs, they start being a bit more accountable, and high support comes with accountability. But you start giving them that, all of a sudden you get rid of their limiting belief and they start cracking on. Now, coming through this is where it is a key factor of low direction but high support. They understand exactly where they need to go. They understand what they need to do. They have broken this limiting belief. However, it comes down to limiting factors. So when you look at these limiting factors, you need to be thinking of, what personally have I experienced within my business? What may people struggle with? And we know becoming successful in the online space isn't necessarily about, how well can you do something? Speed is time and time is speed, but also understanding exactly what we can start looking at of, what happens if something doesn't work? We never did everything perfect our first time round. Why would they? So when we start looking at this, we need to think, okay, high support on what factors don't work and what may not work for them. What may work for you doesn't always work for everyone else. And an example of this, your content. People may start posting consistently. They've got that drive. We've given them that direction of what to do. However, they may get one really good video, but the rest may not reach their ICP. It's not reaching their ICP. They're losing motivation. They're losing that support. Even though we've gotten rid of their limiting beliefs once again, we still need to give them that support. And finally, D4, low direction and low support. This is where we get the W's, because ultimately when they reach this point, they've gone through this whole stage. So reframing it back to the start and why it's so important of following through this process, we want our clients to be valued. We want them to have that support. We want them to understand exactly where they're fitting into play. And, once again, I can't elaborate how important this is if you're a coach, if you're an agency owner, if you're an entrepreneur who have clients, because your clients want to feel supported. They're investing their time into you, they're supporting you, and they need to understand exactly what process they should go through, and you want to be helping them as much as possible. The more you help them, the better you do. Having that giving mentality, and it comes down to the 4 stages of development. You need to understand their needs. You need to supply them with the solutions. You supply them with the solutions, they come back to you. They understand their pains. You understand them. Trust, accountability, this is all covered within this. So if you're still struggling and you're maybe losing clients, you don't know how to retain your clients, you're not sure what's going wrong and maybe what stage you're failing at, drop me a message on the Instagram at Leon Jolmas and message me development and I'll help you out. But if not, this should basically cover everything. And think with each of my clients, when you're tracking them, let's say you use Slack, Google Docs, Google Sheets, anything like this, Discord, you want to be constantly thinking, oh, are they at this stage now? Yes, they don't need this, they've done this, okay. Are they at D2? When you start tracking it like this, all of a sudden, by the end of it, they follow this line. Maybe you may start seeing some slack around here. You're at this point, and it follows that line. But ultimately, you'll end up at the same solution with a W, where your clients start generating better results, they start printing, and ultimately, that's where we see the success. And then now you've got a good case study, a good testimonial, and now you can start staying ahead. So on this note, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more information. Summer's starting. I want to stay ahead of the game, so I'll be posting a lot more. But 4 stages of development, use this to get ahead. Search it up if you still want a tiny bit more information, but this is the best and simplest way possible to stay ahead of the game and generate the best client